With 450 year-round residents, Gustavus, Alaska is one of the most remote small towns in America. Situated on a 38-mile plain along the icy strait, the town didn't get electricity until 1985. There were no phones until the mid-1990s. There's still no road in and out of town. Everything the town residents need has to come in on a boat or in a plane. ToshCo and Cassie Parker own Icy Strait Wholesale, which is the only grocery, hardware, and lumber store in town. Locals call it ToshCo, which combines the owner's name with the place where he sources most of his goods, CostCo. ToshCo and Cassie started the store 11 years ago with $3,000 in inventory from Costco. The local grocery hardware store at the time was charging nearly $12 for a gallon of milk when you could buy a gallon of milk in Juneau for $3. Of course, that would also entail a 50-mile trip by plane. ToshCo figured there had to be a better way, so he and his father Lee started their own shipping company to bring products into town. They bought their own 96-foot barge, plus another boat as a backup plan. ToshCo made national news last year when it was revealed the incredible lengths he went to keep Gustavus supplied with food and other essential items when the supply ferry shut down. He simply began using his own supply boat and began making the arduous 7-hour boat trip to Juneau, where he would load up about $20,000 of food and supplies from the country's smallest Costco, and then spend 7 more hours on the choppy seas to return to Gustavus, where the barge had to be unloaded. Then he would do it all over again the next week. Says ToshCo, "We were definitely surprised it struck such a chord and received so much coverage. I suppose in the midst of seemingly endless bad news, it was something positive for people to latch onto. Even though the state ferry started running again, COVID reductions, breakdowns, and major budget issues have made the ferry so unreliable that a year later, we're still having to run the landing craft every 2 weeks to fill in." Every week, ToshCo and Cassie have to essentially get a shopping order from everyone in town to make sure he picks up enough milk, flour, meat, and produce on his supply run to Juneau. The milk order might swing by 100 gallons from 1 week to the next. Food items are critical, but the local construction company also relies on ToshCo to bring in cement, lumber, even girder beams for bridges. Says ToshCo, "We scrambled to source scarce products from all over the U.S. to make sure we had enough for the community. When none of our suppliers had toilet paper, we started calling companies with large warehouses and buying their personal business backstock if that's what it took. We are the only local place to buy food, and sourcing it was difficult. We were quick enough on the trigger to make sure we didn't run out of most supplies during the frenzy of the pandemic. ToshCo never ran out of basics like toilet paper." Sales were down last year because a major part of the local economy is tourism, which didn't really materialize due to the pandemic. Alaska instigated travel bans early on, and those who could travel were mandated to quarantine. Many residents went into self-imposed quarantine and wouldn't leave their homes. People would email orders, and our already overworked staff would have to pull all of those orders, coordinate payment, and coordinate delivery, ToshCo explains. If we're out of an item, the staff would have to contact the customer and try to work through a substitution. Hardware was especially difficult. The staff stepped up and made sure the orders got filled. Then the Parkers and their staff would run around for hours after closing, making home deliveries. They also created a drop-off point on the front porch of the store where customers could come and pick up their orders. Orgel has been really fantastic to work with, ToshCo says. They experienced many of the same shortages every supplier did, but whatever they did have was delivered on time and correctly. "It's certainly an honor to be recognized," says ToshCo. "For us, it's just another day taking care of our community, and we certainly didn't seek any accolades for doing it. It's just part of the job."